Hey, what's up, guys? I am Analytical Mystic. I'm about to do your weekly tarot readings. Keep in mind, these readings are general, they may not resonate with everybody. Do remember to take into consideration your moon and rising sign as well. So, what I'll be doing is I'll be going through all 12 signs, and I will be pulling one card for the general energy of the week, and then I will pull another card for the love energy of the week. Because everybody wants to know about love, but not everybody has love in their life, okay? So let's go ahead and get this started. What's going on with Aries over the next week? Let's remember. I'm still getting used to them, you guys. Okay. Alright, let's see what is going on with Aries over the next week. What is up with Aries? What kind of energy will Aries encounter over the next week? How will it affect them? And how will they do? Okay, Aries, you're really focused on your home. If you have a family, your family, because you could be solo, but in which case you're extremely focused on your home, or you may be focused in thinking about your actual family, not you, but your kids, your spawn, but like your parents, your aunts and uncles. These are people that you may be thinking about or encountering, talking to a lot more because tis the season. Some of you, this is not really a joyous type thing. There may be issues coming up as a result of this because, like, you don't want to talk to everybody. You don't want to see everybody, and you may be put in a position where you have to. And so that's rather frustrating and giving you a little bit of anxiety. Um, So you may be just trying to get yourself in the right mental headspace to be able to, deal with these things, deal with these people, these issues, in not a destructive way, in a non-destructive way. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aries. What is going on in Aries' love life over the next week? Aries, you have the Page of Pentacles for the next week. So you may have recently met somebody that you really like, you're starting to have feelings for, and you kind of want to um, take it to the next level. This is in the way beginning stage, so it may even be just in the flirtation stage. So you may be at the point where you're ready to tell the person that you care about them, more than just being playful. Um, in some cases, you may be reluctant to express the way you feel because um, you may be in a situation where, like, say this person is not necessarily the type of person your family would approve of. Doesn't really matter to you, but it definitely kind of makes it a little bit more difficult um, to get this situation started. But at the same time, I think that if the way this situation is handled will say a lot about the way things will be handled moving forward and the quality of in dynamic of this partnership, potential partnership, dateship, situationship, whatever. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. See what is going on with Taurus over the next week. What kind of energy will Taurus encounter over the next week? What's going on with Taurus over the next week? course, you have the moon for your general energy. So you may be dealing with a lot of confusion right now. There's something going on that you don't know about, but you know that you don't know about it. And it's kind of driving you crazy that you don't know what you need to know because you need to know something. Um, so you may be kind of seeking guidance within, or maybe looking for a sign from the universe, some sort of synchronicity to help guide you in the direction you need to go, or give you a little bit of insight on the situation that you're so confused about right now. Some people maybe there may be a revealing of some information or some truth to you after some time. Um, and that will definitely help clear things up, clear up the waters of confusion. But I mean, I think you have a feeling. I think you have a really good feeling about the situation, and I think that whatever plays out will kind of be a confirmation of what you really already know. So the actual way it plays out is the sign. Let's see what's going on in your love life. Like you'll be asking for a sign and it'll play out. Like it won't. There just won't. It won't be a sign. You'll get an answer direct. All right. Let's see what's going on in Taurus's love life. Taurus, in your love life, you have the Three of Pentacles. So you are in a situation where you are seeing somebody and you really want to work on developing the relationship. If you're already in a relationship, just kind of working on it to make it better quality. And if you are not in a relationship, getting to know each other, kind of figuring out what it is each other wants from a relationship. And I think you know that you want to pursue this situation, but this is something that still may need to be discussed with the other party. So it could be like in the beginning stages, and you're like, all right, this is something that I do want to put a little bit more effort and energy into and take a little bit more seriously. And so there may need to be some sort of communication about this to clear it up. Okay, let's see what is going on with Gemini. What is up with Gemini over the next week? What kind of energy will Gemini encounter over the next week? What is going on with Gemini? Alright, guys. So, let's get going. We have the Justice card, Gemini. It's time to decide. It's time to make a choice. You know this. You're ready. You're ready to make a choice. Like, even though you may still be confused about what choice to make, you're ready for like this to be over with. Um, you're ready for this cycle, this phase to just be over with. However, you want to really be balanced in your decision. You really want to come at this from a position that considers all possibilities, good, bad, positive, positive, negative. But dealing with your emotions, your intellect, and finding some sort of balance between the two for you to make a decision that'll work out best for you in your life. Um, you could be kind of waiting on that final decision. So you could be waiting to hear back about what's going on. And that could be giving you a lot of anxiety. Like, I'm inclined to say, or talk about something involving the law. So you may be waiting for a decision from like the court system or something. Um, and so you got a lot of anxiety in the meantime, thinking about the possibilities, the different outcomes, and how those outcomes will play out. See what's going on in your love life, Gemini. You have the Hierophant. So you're focused on family, you're focused on commitment, handling your responsibilities, it's your priority right now. Making sure you have everything you need, making sure your family has everything they need, your partner. Um, you're trying to support your partner equally. Like you're trying to make sure you're putting as much effort into the situation that your partner is. Especially now because it's just the season. It's a crazy time of the year, and it can be very overwhelming. So you're kind of making sure that you're carrying your weight. You're trying to. You may be deciding to finally make a commitment to somebody, um, possibly proposing, if not planning the proposal. And this is like any form of a deepening of commitment. This could be telling somebody you want to be serious about dating them. This could be moving in with somebody. This could be getting married. Not necessarily all three, possibly all three. Like maybe you have this revelation. I love you. I think we should move in together and build a life together and stuff like that. Perhaps it does work out with some of you that way, but it's not necessarily all at once, with everybody. Um, which in some cases is okay because it could be very overwhelming if it's all at once. Um, Either way, I really feel like you will be able to find um, optimism and kind of be able to relax and, just see the brighter side of life when you're with your partner. So it's like your partner makes everything better. Even when things are bad, like at least you have your partner and y'all are going through it together, and it's like the struggle sucks, but the partner in the struggle is awesome. The partner in crime is awesome, so you're okay with it. You are okay. Hello, funky uncle, welcome. All right, let's move on to Cancer. Okay, what is going on with Cancer over the next week? I just need one card. Just need one card to see what's going on with Cancer over the next week. Let's see what we got going on, you guys. So it looks like it's going to be a very emotional week. We have the Queen of Cups. Um, how this manifests varies in the way you deal with your emotions. So some of you won't even be able to tell externally. You kind of get the stoic vibe, or at least you are perceived that way, but you are so far from stoic right now. Very, very emotional, and oh my gosh, how could anybody think that a Cancer is stoic? you know, you're definitely feeling a lot of emotions, positive and negative. So it could be a very exciting time right now, but you're also being faced with some issues and some things that you have been avoiding dealing with. Like you haven't had to deal with it. You've been successfully avoiding it. But now you're in a period of time where it's like, okay, you can't avoid this. This is coming up. You're going to feel this whether you like it or not. And it's kind of not necessarily a good time because I think maybe you do have stuff that you need to do. And your emotions being all over the place makes it a little bit more difficult. All right, let's see what is going on in your love life. What is going on in Cancer's love life over the next week? What is going on in Cancer's love life over the next week? Okay, Cancer, we have the Ace of Cups, which is the confirmation of intense emotion. But you are definitely you're having some very intense emotions going on with your partner. In some situations, oh my gosh, you are absolutely head over heels in love with this person. You just treasure every single moment you have with them. Like they, similarly to what I was saying with Gemini, like this person makes your life better, you know, and not necessarily like they improve it. It's just they make the experience of life better. Like no matter what happens in life, this person, it's like okay, because you have this person and y'all are experiencing this stuff together, and it's making you stronger because you're a good partnership, a very good partnership. Um, in some cases, though, you aren't so lucky, unfortunately, but the emotion is just as intense. So you may have some past issues with previous partners that are coming up, and very intense, very hard to cope. You're like I was saying, your emotions are so intense. It makes it harder to do the things you have to do. Just the typical, normal daily tasks of living. It's just harder because you feel so deeply. And if this situation is a negative situation, if these are like triggered issues, this is just it's the worst possible time in the world. Like who wants to feel like that period? But like right now it's just not a good time for you. But you know what? It doesn't matter or not, it's happening. It's happening. The only thing you can try to do with it is find a healthy way to cope with these emotions. Because you may be inclined to like numb, and that's not necessarily the best way to deal with things. You have fun at some point, um, and that's something you may be reluctant or afraid to do. All right? Let's move on to Leo. Let's see what's going on with Leo over the next week. What kind of energy will Leo encounter? What's going on with my Leos over the next week? Leo, you have the Eight of Swords. So you kind of feel stuck, feel very frustrated because you feel like there's nothing you can do at the moment to improve your situation, or even, I mean, just like work towards something. Like there's something that you are really trying to achieve, but you feel tied down, you feel held back. Um, there are things that are going on in life that are making it very difficult for you to be able to do these things. However, there is a way to get around this. You're just kind of so stuck in this sense of helplessness that it's hard for you to be optimistic about there being a way. It may be in certain cases that there is a way, it's just not happening now. It's not happening fast enough for you, Leo. And so that's going to definitely make the frustration even more intense if you were the type of person that likes to be in control and you have a hard time going with the flow. This is going to be more difficult energy for you to deal with. Um, those of you who are kind of going with the flow will find that this is a good time to um, come to different understanding, different level of understanding on some things. So this time can be used beneficially if you kind of can see that. If you don't get so lost and frustrated and not being able to do what you want to do, you can really take advantage of this time period. And then you will be more prepared when you are finally able to do something about things. And let's see what's going on in your love life, Leo, shall we? What is going on in Leo's love life over the next week? Leo, you have the Six of Swords. So there may be some sort of travel involved with you and your partner. Perhaps you're going on a little mini road trip, whatever. You may be in a situation though with your partner, significant other, person of interest where there's not a lot of forward motion, and that's extremely frustrating. Extremely frustrating because you do want to move forward. In some situations, you want to move on. In some situations, you are having a hard time releasing the past, letting go of things that have occurred. You're having a hard time moving on. So, but it's not a situation where you're holding on desperately to the past. You want to move on. It's just very, very difficult for you at this time. There's still hurt that you have to work through and that you have to heal from in order for you to be able to move on. There are things about this situation that you can learn from if you pay enough attention. And I think during this period of not being able to do what you want to do, you can take the time to do that, come to those realizations, learn those lessons, try to figure them out, and in order to help you move forward, either away from this relationship situationship that is not working out for you, on from the issues that you have had with your partner, and forward in a new direction. But right now, I think there is just a snag. There's some sort of snag that you have hit along the way. So you're going to be dealing with that snag this week. Okay, Virgo. What is up with my Virgos? Let's see what's going on with you guys this week. What is going on with Virgo over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? What's going on with my Virgos? Virgo, you have the Justice card, so decision time. You got to make a choice about what you're going to do. This is something you have been going back and forth on, trying to weigh all the options, the consequences of every potential action. Well, now it's time to decide. Now it's time to make the choice, make the decision. Either make it or find it out. Somebody else is making a decision and you're finding it out. And, this is very important in regards to the direction your life is about to go in. This is like a little corner or curve, depending on the situation. It could be a corner where it makes a big difference, or a curve where it just takes you in a slightly different direction, But either way, it's time. It's time to decide. All right, let's see what is going on in your love life, Virgo. What is going on in Virgo's love life? I feel like you want to educate yourself more about what's going on before you make a decision. Like you want to do some research. Okay. Love life. Back to Virgo's love life. Let's get a card for Virgo's love life. All right. Virgo, you have the Two of Swords. So there is a situation with your partner that's not really coming to a resolution because there are some things that are being avoided. There are, yeah, there's some issues that are being avoided. You're not really talking about things that you need to talk to in order for you to kind of come back together. There may have been some difficulty, and your partner um, may have been very hurt by you and thus very much on the defensive. And you are reluctant to kind of deal with it. You kind of don't want to deal with it. You know, you just want everything to be fine and for that to like just go away. But that's not the case. You will have to deal with the situation, even if this comes to a place where you and your partner kind of like come to a mutual understanding. You still have to address what has happened because that pain is there and it's not going to go away, and it's going to affect the course of your relationship if you just ignore it and act like it's not there and just be like, whatever, that was the past, get over it. Now there's some things that need to be worked out. There's some issues that led to what happened in the past that have not been resolved, and that needs to be resolved in order for the situation to kind of come to a positive conclusion. um, you know this, you're avoiding it. You're avoiding it. And it's just kind of like, well, the longer you avoid it, I mean, the longer the stagnation will be, the longer you'll be kind of stuck in the middle of the ending and another one beginning, not making any progress at all. And you're the only one to blame, you know? All right, let's move on to Libra. What is going on with Libra over the next week? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? What is going on with the Libra? Let's find out. Libra, you have the Eight of Wands, so lots of communicating. You are a superb communicator at this point. Lots of talking, lots of forward movement. Things are happening pretty fast. You didn't expect them to, but they are. And that's kind of exciting because you like that you're seeing progress. You didn't think you would, and so this is just pleasantly surprising. Excuse me. But there will be like a lot of little meetings, if you will, a lot of conversations that need to be had with like individual people. So there's a lot of communication going on right now. But in some situations, there's difficulty with this. So you may have a hard time getting a hold of somebody, or I mean, like there's delays in the response, stuff like that. So, things may be difficult and there may be situations that aren't moving forward, but overall the progress is going faster than you thought it would. There's just certain hangups that you've got to deal with. And either way, you can see that your life is going in a different direction that's going to be for the better. Even if you have to go through some pain and heartache to get there, some stress to get there, it's like the destination is going to be worth it. Even though you don't know your destination, deep down, you just know that when you get there, you'll know. Let's see what is going on in your love life, Libra. What is going on in Libra's love life over the next week? Libra, you have the Nine of Pentacles. So if you are not single, you are going to be feeling very alone in your partnership. Um, this could be good or bad. And it could be good in a way of like you're being independent. You're not in a codependent situation with your partner, and you're kind of like taking care of a lot of things right now on your own. So you may be somewhat distant from your partner, and kind of doing your own thing. But and in other situations, you are on your own. Perhaps like this is a decision you have made. Perhaps you've recently ended something. Um, perhaps this is a choice. Perhaps this isn't a forced situation. So it's like you may be happily alone. That's great. It's wonderful to be happy being on your own, to be happy with yourself. And even if you're like satisfied with your own company, like um, you don't need to be with somebody to be okay, at least right now, Libra. Because the Libras typically are all about partnership, but you are feeling very independent this week. Very independent. And that could be positive or negative, just depending on your situation. All right. Excuse me. All right, let's see what's going on with Scorpio. What is up with Scorpio over the next week? What kind of energy is Scorpio? Let's find out. We have the Magician. So right now, Scorpio, you're all about making things happen. You're all about bringing things into reality, making the intangible tangible. Very focused on this. Definitely your priority. You are either making things happen or working towards making things happen. Thus, continuing to make things happen. There may be some delays. Like I feel like that may be one of um, the overall vibes is of the week is just kind of like you're making things happen, but there may be some delays along the way. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life, Scorpio. What's going on in Scorpio's love life? Scorpio, you have the Queen of Wands, so I feel like you're feeling very feisty, very prickly, and you're not even necessarily in a bad mood. You just feel feisty. You just feel like arguing. Oh my gosh, Scorpio. Like, hopefully, you're not starting like intense arguments. Hopefully, this is like debate type things, like playful debates with your partner. There is a lot of feisty energy here. And it's either coming from you or your partner where you're just super hyper, super excited. You know what you want, feeling a little bit bossy, wanting to be in control of the situation. But you just want to have fun. You just want to have a good time. It's not like you're not trying to be in this energy of like my way or the highway. This is the only way it's supposed to be. But to a certain extent, this is the way it's supposed to be. To a certain extent, you're like, okay, I'm not saying it's my way or the highway. I'm just saying it's my way. But there are some of you who are starting shit just because you want to argue. And like maybe you have a legitimate reason. to get into an argument. But some of you are just bored. Trifling. Trifling. Come on, Scorpio. There are different ways you can deal with your boredom. This is more mentally stimulating to you, so you may be maybe being a little bit manipulative. And I kind of feel like some of you may be like being manipulative. I don't know what she's talking about. And then being like, well, I guess that kind of is manipulative. Like, not at face value, but in a way, yeah, it did manipulate that situation. Okay, you know. But yeah, this isn't necessarily negative energy. It can be harnessed towards something, really fun and productive. It's just a matter of how it manifests in your life. Will you be able to harness this energy into something productive? Or are you just wanting to fight? Which is it? Tell me about it. Tell me all about it. Let's see what's going on with Sagittarius. What is going on with Sagittarius over the next week? What is up with my Saggies? Sagittarius, you have the High Priestess. So to a certain extent, you're kind of keeping to yourself. You're a little bit withdrawn. If you have to deal with people, you're definitely withdrawn from them. But this may be abnormal for you. Honestly, there's just something you just feel kind of blah. You just blah, and you kind of just want to be by yourself. You kind of don't really want to talk to a lot of people unless you have to, and you don't really know why you feel this way, but you're gonna figure it out. In the process of isolating yourself a little bit, you will be able to kind of clear your mind, work through your thoughts, and gain a better understanding of what's going on, at least. Gain some insight without the input and outside influence of others. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Sagittarius. What kind of energy will you encounter in your love life, Sagittarius? What is up? Sagittarius, you have the Page of Pentacles. So I feel like there may be a situation where you and your partner, significant other, potential, etc. There has been some misunderstandings. There's been some hurt feelings, but I feel like there's going to be a conversation to kind of clear that up. But at the same time, I kind of feel like you need to take a moment to figure out, to clear it up internally, and then internally understand how you feel so that you can have an open and honest conversation with the other person. Because, I feel like there's genuine interest here. It's not just like flirtation, a quick glassing flirtation. So if there is a misunderstanding, it matters to you. It does matter to you, and you do want to work through it. Even though you don't really want to deal with anybody right now. You do want to deal with the people that are important to you and the people that matter to you. And, you may be having a revelation about, wow, this person really matters to me, really care about them. I need to make an effort to show this. And so if there's been misunderstandings or conflict, you're going to try to clear it up. You're going to try to make your feelings more clear to the other party or request clarity from the other party. And I think in some situations, if you are single, you're really just trying to understand yourself more in regards to your love life, understand your behaviors, the patterns, the people that you're attracted to, what it is that you're attracted to, what it is that you truly want from a relationship, and how to communicate that to whomever you need dealing with. All right then, Sagittarius. On to my copy. What is going on with my Capricorns? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? What's going on with my Capricorns? Alright, let's see what we get. Capricorn, we have the Four of Cups, so you may be falling victim to some feelings of depression, in some situations, detachment. You don't really care about anything that's going on because of how you're feeling. There's some way that you are feeling that it just makes you completely uninterested in anything else. This concern. You may feel like there is a situation you've missed out on, that there has been this missed opportunity, possibly in regards to a partnership, and you're really sad about this, you're really depressed about this, and there's really not a lot that can make you feel better about things right now. So it sounds like really crappy, Capricorn. I hate that you're feeling this way, but you're just kind of like, you don't really care. You just don't really care about anything. Even the stuff you care about, the stuff you do care about, you just don't really care about it so much right now. You just have a lot of just don't care. See what's going on in your love life. What is going on in Capricorn's love life? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter in their love life? Capricorn, you have the Emperor. So you may be in a situation where you're dealing with somebody who's very controlling, or even you may be exhibiting these traits. Perhaps you have become very controlling, very bossy. This is a know-it-all. This is a person who is my way or the highway. Um, it could be they could be potentially very overbearing, and it really fucks with your self-esteem. Um, Now, in some situations, you may be actually exhibiting this behavior. You may be controlling. You may be overbearing. These are things that you are doing to your partner, and you may not even really care how they feel about it. Come on, don't be like that. It's like you feel like shit, so you don't care whether or not your partner feels like shit. In some situations, you're trying to bring more structure to your family. You may be trying to commit to your partner. You want to step up to the plate, be a caregiver, not just a caregiver, like a protector. This is like a fatherly figure. You're looking out for your partner. You want to make sure that you're okay. You want to make sure that you're both okay, and that things are running smoothly and successfully in your partnership. But I feel like you may be having a hard time seeing when things are running good. So you may be so caught up in having control over the way everything happens that you don't really see when things are going so well, because you're still trying to do something else. You're not really taking the time to enjoy the moment. So try to take the time to enjoy the moment, because nothing lasts forever. Some of you may just be like, I gotta get my shit in order. I gotta get my life in order before I even have a partnership. Like, I can't, you know, I'm not in a place where I can commit to somebody, but I'm gonna work on it because I am ready to be in a relationship where I commit. I'm just not ready. Does that make sense? Okay. Not where you want to be, basically. All right, let's see what's going on with Aquarius. What's going on with my Aquarians this week? I keep wanting to say this month. What's going on with Aquarius this week? What kind of energy will Aquarius encounter? Aquarius, you have the Five of Cups. So you are definitely struggling with feelings of depression, sadness, rejection, abandonment. There's just a lot of hurt and issues that are coming up, and it's just very, very difficult for you to deal with. I think there is a situation, and you're going pretty good for you, but you don't see it because you're so caught up in your grief. You don't see that there are still good things that have come out of this situation, things that can be worked with. You're not seeing those things right now because you're so caught up in your grief. And I hope that you do come to a point where you do see that. Unfortunately, I think that you may second guess yourself in that situation. But like, yeah, right now, you're just dealing with some very sad feelings. You may be regretting some things you have said or done, feeling really, really bad regret, remorse. Um, you may be having a very hard time mentally right now. Some of you may be seeing that there is um, something that can be salvaged from this clusterfuck of fuckery. All right. Now let's see what's going on in Aquarius's love life. What's going on in Aquarius's love life over the next week? All right, Aquarius, you have the Seven of Wands. So you're in a situation where you want to fight for what it is you want. You do not want this to end. You want to fight for this. Um, you may be trying to explain to your partner, why you have done what you've done, your perspective, your point of view, and kind of, defending yourself, pleading your case, if you will. You don't want to accept defeat in this situation. There are others of you you really have your wall up, you really kind of shutting down any attempt anybody makes at, initiating some sort of romantic feelings, you've got your guard up, and it's because you're hurt. You're super hurt, you're still sad, and you're not even ready to deal with anybody else because you're still dealing with the sadness of the loss of your previous relationship and the things that situation that you wish you hadn't, or that you wish you could go and take back or clarify on, explain, etc., etc. You're so caught up in that stuff that like anybody else, they just get shut down. You don't care, you don't see it, and you don't. If you do see it, you don't want them to bother you. You're like, get the fuck out of my face, get out of my face. All right, let's move on to Pisces. Get the fuck out of my face. All right, let's see what's going on with Pisces. What is going on with Pisces over the next week? What kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? Pisces, we have the King of Cups. So you are going to be feeling very emotional, very sensitive, very focused on the things that you care about, that matter the most to you. This week, you may be a little too emotional, like you may be a little hypersensitive to criticism, or to anything negative at all. Like you may be crying at the drop of a hat. Like, there's so many holiday movies and shows on, and they're all making you cry. You're tearing up on all of them. Get your tissue for the Hallmark movies with the same storyline in like 15 different movies. The same storyline with the same set in the same small town that the same people go back to and reunite with their ex. And it's like the same, the same. You don't want to deal with that. No, 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 no. But it makes you cry. Like that's what it's like one of the things that you typically are like, kind of making fun of, like I am now. But you may get caught up watching some of this stuff, not necessarily intentionally, and find yourself getting super emotionally involved. Oh, I miss my hometown. Or, oh, look at that, the family was fighting, but now they've made up. And just like, just super, super sensitive. Super, super sensitive. And like I said, this could, it could just be you being like super over emotional, and not in a negative, not manifesting in a negative way at all. But there are some people that are so hypersensitive that they're going to be flying off the handle any moment they get their feelings hurt. Or if they're already feeling emotional, if somebody fucks with them while they're already feeling emotional, they're going to lose their shit. It's or maybe you're doing both. Maybe you're super emotional and boo-hooey, but also super emotional and biting people's heads off. I don't know. Let's hope that you can find some sort of balance there. Some of you maybe drinking too much. Be careful with that. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life, Pisces. What kind of energy will you encounter in your love life, Pisces? What is going on in Pisces love life over the next week? What's going on with Pisces over the next week? Okay, Pisces, we have the Seven of Swords. Something's not right. It's how you feel. Perhaps it is true. Something's not right. There's something that they're not telling you. There's something you're not telling them. There's something that's hidden here. I guess in certain situations, this could actually be, surprise. Nothing, negative. Um, Maybe somebody's like they're being super sneaky, and you notice they're being super sneaky, and you're like, why the fuck are you being so sneaky? And you're getting a little bit paranoid. But really, they're getting sneaky because they're trying to do something really nice for you. Um, Hopefully, that's your situation. This energy does manifest in different ways. And you may be dealing with somebody, or you may be somebody who's being very sneaky behind the scenes, seeing multiple people, um, just being extremely manipulative in this situation, manipulating people's emotions and the way they feel. Not good vibes, very negative vibes, in certain situations. Um, Either way, whether it's like a surprise or something really fucked up, I think you're still having the same reaction in the meantime. Like, while you don't know what's going on, but you know something's going on, you're just thinking the worst. Um, and really, it's like it's time for the truth to come out. You just want the truth to come out. You just want the sneaking around to stop. You'd rather face the heartache than deal with the tiptoeing. You want to deal with things head on. You really do. You don't like this hiding bullshit. You don't like the sneaking around. It's like there's no reason to. You may feel like there's no reason to do that. Just talk to me. Like if that's you want to be with somebody else, just talk to me. Tell me about it. So I can go be with somebody else too. Pisces, you messy. So messy. Doesn't always have to be like that. Two wrongs don't make a right, but I'm not judging. I'm not judging your actions, okay? Um, that being said, I'm going to end the reading there for the week. I hope all these resonate in some way, shape, or form for accuracy purposes. And I will see you guys again. Excuse me. I will see you guys again next week sometime.